Spying has been one of the tactics that is used to win wars. Knowing what your enemy is having and planning puts countries in a right position of acting. Nothing provides safe and fast spying than using satellites. But back in the days, satellites were not there, and the only way to spy was by the use of aircrafts. Since the use of weather observation balloons in World War I, military forces have attempted to get a better understanding of their opposing forces. And as technology improved, so did our ability to get a bird's eye view on our enemy. Here are some of the best spy planes ever built in the world. Lockheed SR-71. One of the most famous prolific reconnaissance aircraft of all time. The SR-71 Blackbird still holds the world record for fastest manned air-breathing jet. Built by Lockheed Martin's classified Skunk Works division. A total of 32 aircraft were built for use by the U.S. Air. Of the 4,000 missions carried out by this speed bird, 0 aircraft was lost to the enemy fire. This speed demon made over 54,000 flight hours, with much of that time spent above Mach 3. This plane gathered a lot of information for the United States during the peak of the Cold War, as its speed would leave Soviet Union's missiles miles behind it. With the elite aircrew of 2, one acting as a pilot and other as the reconnaissance systems officer. Pilots wore special, high-pressurized flight suits, similar to that of astronauts, to ensure their ability to breathe and survive at altitudes exceeding 80,000 feet. While no spy plane has been able to match its speed, range, and ability to evade enemy defenses, increased operating costs forced the SR-71 into retirement in 1998 by the U.S. Air Force, but continued in service with NASA through 1999. Tupolev Tu-16R Badger. One of the Soviet Union's first long-range strategic bombers, the Tu-16R was adapted for maritime reconnaissance, and it flew for nearly 50 years. The Tu-16 was designed as an high-speed jet bomber for operations in theaters close to the Soviet Union. Intended to replace the propeller-driven Tu-4, the greatest challenge during development was doubling the speed to improve survivability in the face of enemy fighters. Lockheed U-2. The Dragon Lady has been flying for 60 years, and it has quite a successful history. The U-2 Dragon Lady was another marvel built by Lockheed Martin Skunk Works division. With only 104 built, the U-2 quickly became the go-to asset for combat commanders and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance requirements since its introduction in 1957. Still in service today, the U-2 is actively used by the U.S. Air Force, CIA, and NASA to meet the needs of the ISR community. Similar to the SR-71, the lone U-2 pilot wears a pressurized flight suit that allows them to operate smoothly, even when cruising at 500 miles per hour and 90,000 feet. The U-2 is projected to remain in service until 2023, totaling over 65 years of service. Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-25. The MiG-25 is the second fastest air-breathing jet in the world, and in a reconnaissance configuration, could reportedly reach altitudes over 80,000 feet. Designed by the Soviet Union's Mikoyan-Gurevich Bureau, it is one of the few combat aircraft built primarily using stainless steel. The first prototype flew in 1964, and the aircraft entered service in 1970. It has an operational top speed of Mach 2.83. Although its thrust was sufficient to reach Mach 3.2+, its speed was limited to prevent engines from overspeeding at higher airspeeds and possibly damaging them beyond repair. Production of the MiG-25 series ended in 1984 after completion of 1,186 aircraft. A symbol of the Cold War, the MiG-25 flew with Soviet allies and former Soviet republics, remaining in limited service in several export customers. Myasishchev M17 M55. The Myasishchev M17 M55 is a high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft developed by OKB Myasishchev in the Soviet Union, similar in mission to the Lockheed U-2, but with a twin-boom fuselage and tail surface design. In the 1960s, the US was releasing high-altitude reconnaissance balloons that would enter the jet stream and fly over the Soviet Union. To combat the problem, the USSR developed the M17 to fly high and shoot down the balloons. But after satellites became the U.S. camera of choice, the USSR cancelled the program and turned the jet into a reconnaissance platform. Northrup RF-61, reporter. Built by Northrop and only 36 produced, this little-known gem of a plane served the U.S. Army Air Corps well during World War II and the Korean War, providing critical aerial photographs especially of the Korean Peninsula in 1950. Its twin-engine, dual-tail design called for 2 pilots with a max speed of 440 miles per hour and a range of 4,000 miles. While no plane was lost to combat, the RF-61 did have a short-lived engagement being used in Mexico City for aerial survey work, but an incident in 1968, where a reporter traveled off the runway from an aborted takeoff ended its flying days.